Good evening, everybody, and welcome tonight. It is Thursday night, 9:05 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:05 p.m. for you guys there in California. I do see you there, Pastor Arlen Preston, there in Rio Vista, California. God bless you. Ro Gammon, checking in from Midlothian, Virginia, and everybody jumping in here tonight for the update. How about a big shout out to Beverly Kniss? God bless you. Welcome to the program tonight and the updates. How about a Ukrainian flag and a U.S. flag? That's supposed to be updated to show the flags, but it's Ukrainian, U.S., and a thumbs up. And Bob Piccirilli there. Prayers to Ukraine. Jeremy Teeple checking in. Canada, welcome to you, my friend. Pam Waldrum, I see you there jumping in from the great state of Nevada. So everybody's jumping in here. Tonight is a huge night. I, just a couple of hours ago, was able to talk with Zhenya. I've got a little video I'm going to show you from him in a moment. Hoping in the next day or two at the max, he will be on with me live for the hour for an update. But today truly was a big day. And we go from day to day. Similar how the Bible says we go from faith to faith and glory to glory. Well, right now with this war in Ukraine, we're going from day to day. And I've got a full 53 minutes to share with you guys. Kay Medberry, God bless you. Rick Rossi, God bless you. Megan Johnson, everybody's in here. And I just want to thank you. And as always, you know that your part of the job is to be here. Michael Johnson, welcome to you tonight. To share the broadcast, tell your friends, tell your family members, tell those at work tomorrow. Say, go back and watch this guy if you want to know the truth on Ukraine. Each night, we're going to be here. We're not going anywhere. The next time I go somewhere, I'm heading to Ukraine, the first opportunity I get. So one day at a time, and we'll see what is happening. But for sure, today was a huge day. Lots to share. The title of the program tonight is Good Evening PG from I-95. Well, welcome from I-95 there, Rick Powers. I'm going to give you 55 minutes of driving education. Randy Carter, I see you in here, man. God bless you. All right, folks, let's jump to it. We've got a lot to go. We're going to start here. You saw that the title of the program tonight was Europe Starts to Remember World War II. And what I typically do is, as I'm preparing stuff, when I get up in the morning, I'm talking to Ukraine. I'm up late at night talking to Ukraine. I typically do not go to bed until Zhenya and or Rostik is awake. I make sure everything is good, because literally I'm seriously watching the warning signals. And here's the message that they continually give, and they do it themselves by being on here with me. But the message is, this is what true friendship is. You know, not only that I'm here trying to get the truth out each night, but that you're here, and together we are understanding that what we see and hear on television is just not accurate most of the time, or it's very late. And in this world in which we live, which everything is connected instantaneously, especially in this arena where we are on the doorstep of World War III, we're on the doorstep of biblical prophecy being fulfilled in front of our eyes in our generation, specifically referring to Ezekiel 38, 39, Matthew 24. We're seeing it all right in front of our face. So it is worthy of our focus. It's worthy of our attention. It's worthy of our prayer. It's worthy of taking a priority in our lives, and it will continue. So right before I went on the air tonight, the rabbit called me from down in Virginia. He says, "Hey man, I've got a story for you. You're not going to believe this, but today an Amish guy down in Virginia came into, my cousins down there own a saw shop, a chainsaw shop. It's kind of well known there in the central Virginia area. And he said an Amish guy came in today and talked to my brother, who's Bruce. And the Amish guy had went into this old barn. This is weird. Yes, lots of Amish are moving into central Virginia. He went into this old barn, and when he went into the old barn, he found a newspaper from the early 40s at the beginning of World War II. The newspaper, and this just happened today, the newspaper was well preserved, where it could be read. And the Amish guy told my cousins down there that when he read the article, 1940, 41, the Amish guy said, from everything I'm understanding happening in Ukraine and Europe and Russia, we could have just changed the date and changed the names, but the story is the exact same. It is a duplicate. So Ricky called me and says, hey man, you're not going to believe this. It fits perfectly into what we're discussing tonight. And that is Europe remembers World War II, and things are starting to become eerily similar. Today, many European nations made some bold statements. As well, a little later in the hour, I've got 9 or 10 photos from World War II with their war in Ukraine duplicate. This is not photoshopped, other than putting the two images together. This is not made up. It's very famous pictures from World War II, and then pictures that have happened and are happening over the last 3 weeks. So Zhenya's doing well. We were talking today. Financiers are doing well. We're definitely way north of 50K. We're going for 60 now. And I did speak to Zhenya a couple of hours ago before we went to sleep. And I asked him, because Pastor Kent is managing the finances. You know, we're raising them locally at Bethel Life, and then we're raising them around the United States on the program each night. And we keep you updated. I'm telling you the truth. There's nothing being hid. We're over 50K, and every penny plus is going there, as you know, and it's already there. Not all of it. It's going as the need arises. We're helping. PK's helping manage it with Zhenya. So I was talking to Zhenya, said, how's the money going? Because we're Thursday, tomorrow's Friday. And, you know, you've got enough money for food. You got enough money for gas. You got enough money for clothing. Are you able to meet the needs? He goes, we're managing well. We've already stocked the food. We've already scheduled out for this weekend. So we're good to go for this weekend. He says, in fact, today we were able to help purchase some things that are needed in the East. So probably Monday we'll be looking at sending another chunk of financial support there. And it literally happens as long as the systems are rolling almost instantaneously. It's unbelievable. I mean, within a couple of hours, typically, it's there. But today, here's a little video Zhenya made late this afternoon. I know the lady on the right. I've known her for a long time. But here's Zhenya showing something that your resources and your finances are helping support. Not just food, not just clothing, not just fuel, not just renting buildings so that they can house refugees, but how about this? We're making a difference somewhere else as well. Here's Zhenya from a few hours ago.
Greg, here is just a part of the day. Here is 100% of life. It's the name of the organization, and this sister you probably remember. They brought a powered banks which goes to the east side. I will tell you directly.
Это няня, я когда-то был няней ее сына. Когда маленький.
Everything for our victory.
Everything for our victory. I talked to him. He's, you know, he can't tell us exactly where they're going because the president and the general secretary and the defense have asked. There's so much power in social media. Don't tell exactly where you're sending stuff. Don't tell exactly where our troops are. But they're going east. And I am allowed to tell you that those power banks are going to Ukrainian soldiers who are working on the front lines. They communicate with their cell phones, and power is being cut. It's gone. They're struggling to get their cell phones charged. So we're sending power banks to the soldiers, and you have been a part of that. Mario Triplets, Houston, Texas. Welcome and thank you, my friend. I'm pretty sure when I see, it's on YouTube, so I'm not sure, but when I see Mario and I see Triplets, pretty sure that's an Ayala, and it's from Houston, Texas. So thank you. Mario, go to blwc.org and make a donation. Love you, brother. He will. It's a great man of God there. All right, folks, let's get to it. And I hope that was who I think it is, but I'm not really sure. What's up, Three Wing Productions? In fact, that reminds me of something. Folks, this came into me from Three Wing Productions from Texas. Let me show you this. He sent me an update. Just happened 4 hours ago. This is a person in Slavuch. And Slavuch is up here north of Kyiv, right to the left of Chernigov. So this is Slavuch right here, right on the Russian border. Let's zoom her on here. Yeah, I'm working on better software to show maps. This is little town, little village of Slavuch. And one of the viewers of our nightly updates is Three Wing Productions. He sent me this message. He has friends there. He's been there, ministered there. The update from just a few hours ago: for 6 days, we had no electricity, light, hot water, prepared to eat on the street, in the yard, helped each other. There is little food. It cannot be bought in the store. We share with each other. We change products, but God with us. Now the mobile connection is not good. We need prayer. So that's just a few hours ago, and an update directly from the town of Slavuch. So that is in occupied Russian territory. Here is the map. I've got lots of stuff to go through tonight, but you can see the places that the Russian military is in control of. Crimea, down at the south. Major battles are going on in the south. Mariupol is still a disaster. Of course, Donetsk, Lugansk, the assault on Kharkov in the northeast. You push around to Sumy. We've talked about all these places. Konotop, you push around to Chernigov, and then the little village we were just looking at. And now troops are making pretty good advancements. They're softening it up by firing from a distance, but it's the goal, of course, and we've been talking about this, to surround Kyiv. But the Ukrainian army is doing a phenomenal job defending in these challenging situations. Where you see the orange dots right here, of course, it's in the same areas and regions around the south, around the east, and the north. Those locations are all locations of current battles, current fighting. So as you can see, this is spread throughout the north, throughout the east, and throughout the south. Though these are the hot spots. Now today, I told you guys yesterday that 6 cities in Belarus was fired upon, of course, by themselves or Russia, and blamed on the Ukrainians. So today, Lukashenko, you're probably not seeing it on your news, but Lukashenko came out today, the president of Belarus, and he said that if Ukraine continues to escalate against Belarus, provoke, Minsk will respond. You can see, we've been talking about it, false flag events, and we're close to Belarus getting involved in this thing. I'm going to talk about Syria more in just a few moments. It's really serious. Today, Vladimir Putin went on the air and was talking. Today, Zelensky spoke to Germany, much like he addressed the U.S. Congress today. He spoke to Germany. He also had a phone call with the president of France, Macron. We'll talk more about that in a moment. But after these things, Putin went on the air, responded, and not only Putin, but his foreign minister, a lady named Zakharova, that's her last name, Zakharova, she went on and made just unbelievable statements. I'm going to show you these. I've got a clip of Putin speaking today, and it's translated in the bottom, so you will be able to hear the Russian, but you'll read the English. Vladimir Putin, and the reason I'm showing this to you tonight, guys, is because we're really analyzing how close the pattern of this is to World War II. In fact, at the end of this clip, just pay attention to it in the transcripts. President Putin goes after his own people and calls them traitors to the motherland. Folks, that is a direct quote from Mein Kampf, the book written by Adolf Hitler when he was assuming power there in history after he went to prison. He actually went to prison for 5 years, wrote Mein Kampf, come out, and then Germany fell to him. So now these statements are being repeated. This is why people are looking. This is why the Amish guy said today, it looks like I'm reading the 2022 paper, but this is from the beginning of World War II. So here's Vladimir Putin.
Они будут пытаться делать ставку на так называемую пятую колонну, на национал-предателей, на тех, кто зарабатывает деньги здесь, у нас, а живет там. И живет даже не в географическом смысле этого слова, а по своим мыслям, по своему арабскому сознанию. Я совсем не осуждаю тех, у кого вилла в Майами или на французской ривьере, кто не может обойтись без фуагра, устриц или так называемых гендерных свобод. Но проблема абсолютно не в этом, а, повторю, в том, что многие из таких людей по своей сути ментально находятся именно там, а не здесь, не с нашим народом, не с Россией. Это и есть, по их мнению, признак принадлежности к высшей касте, к высшей расе. Подобные люди готовы и мать родную продать, только бы им разрешили сидеть в прихожей у этой самой высшей касты. И они хотят быть похожими на нее, всячески подражая ей. Но они забывают или не понимают вообще, что этой так называемой высшей касте они, если и нужны, то как расходный материал, чтобы использовать их для нанесения максимального ущерба нашему народу. Коллективный Запад пытается расколоть наше общество, спекулируя на боевых потерях, на социально-экономических последствиях санкций, спровоцировать гражданское противостояние в России и, используя свою пятую колонну, стремиться к достижению своей цели. А цель одна, я уже говорил об этом – разрушение России. Но любой народ, а тем более российский народ, всегда сможет отличить истинных патриотов от подонков и предателей и просто выплюнет их, как случайно залетевшую в рот мушку, выплюнет на панель. Убежден, такое естественное и необходимое самоочищение общества только укрепит нашу страну, нашу солидарность, сплоченность.
Folks, here's what I can confirm to you. What was written for the translation was accurate. And you see it, the collective West trying to destroy us. He talks about the fifth column. The fifth column is the power of media, which we're participating in right now. He talks about scum and traitors and how that there needs to be a cleansing of these people to preserve a perfect Russia. Now, I'm just telling you, I've been on the Ezekiel 38 train for 2 years, and I'm telling you right now, this has to be stopped, folks. And let me take it a step further now. Let's go to his foreign spokesperson, Zakharova. I will translate what she says. I just have a little clip here This is her speaking today.
Российские вооруженные силы не бомбят города, и об этом всем хорошо известно. Сколько бы роликов в натовских структурах не монтировали, сколько бы видео, нарезок и фото фейков не было сейчас вброшено, правда все равно пробьется.
Did y'all catch it? No? I'll tell you what she said. She said that the shelling and the destruction of the cities within Ukraine with heavy artillery, aircraft, bombs, and cruise missiles has not been done by the Russian military, but it's been done by NATO. They have bombed Ukraine and they blame it on us. Are you understanding why we can't just let this go? This is why Zelensky is not going to accept any peace agreements that would stop the war that are not going to match up with Ukrainian territorial sovereignty, the ability to defend themselves, a relationship with EU, NATO, whatever it may be, because these people are severely confused, and I'm trying to be polite. They all need Jesus. In fact, I was talking with a guy. Look at here. Mario Triplets just donated on behalf of our church. May God continue to use your efforts. Love you, Greg. Thank you, Ayla. And Rick Barry, yes, that is exactly right. The same spirit in Hitler as in Putin can make the same comparison between Chamberlain and Western leadership. Sir, spot on. But Europe is starting to recognize this, and we're going to talk about that. Very, very, very dangerous moments right now. We literally on a knife's edge. So let me go back to what Zhenya told me earlier. I said, Bud, your finances all right? Everything good? We're ready to send more resources. We just want to send it as you needed so money doesn't get locked up in the system. He goes, no, we're good for the weekend. He says, and I'm almost quoting, and he can confirm it when he's on here next. He says, listen, Greg, we're managing our money very well. Thank you to everybody that's giving. This is a team effort, and we know you really love us. And I said, yeah. He goes, but I'm becoming concerned about what the next few weeks hold. We need to make sure we have resources available. I don't see this getting better. And that's directly from him in Ukraine. You know, I've been trying to educate everybody as we've went along so that you can understand. Many people do not understand, first of all, the sizes of these cities. So last night, I made comparisons for all these cities we're talking about and how big they are compared to American cities. Secondly, many people do not understand the size of Ukraine. I tell you, it's not that big. I mean, it's decent, but it's not ginormous. It's not Russia. It's not the United States. But there it is superimposed on the Ukrainian, on the American map. So basically from the bottom of Crimea up to the north of Ukraine would be like from Raleigh, North Carolina to Toronto, Canada. And then from the very east to the west, basically New York to Chicago. So that gives you a better understanding. Basically, you know, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Indiana, West Virginia, little bit of Michigan and the top of Virginia, and you've pretty much got Ukraine. So you guys know, I mean, that's, if you live in this region, those areas are really not that far apart. Well, let's get with it. Something I know you guys enjoy each night, and that is I tell you what the general staff and also what President Zelensky has said today. Today, let's start with this. President Zelensky spoke to Germany today. So let me just show you how he was introduced. They were very respectful. very similar to how the United States Congress did it a couple of days ago. This is him being welcomed to whatever Germany's leadership group is called, Parliament or whatever. I don't know. Their leadership nationally.
Dieses wunderbar stolzen Landes. Herr Präsident, lieber Volodymyr Zelensky, die Welt steht der Ukraine bei. Deutschland steht an Ihrer Seite. Sie haben das Wort.
You can see him in the upper left-hand corner there. Thank you, he said.
Vielen Dank.
Of course, he's then greeting everybody. So there he is. He did speak to Germany today. Here are some of the things that Zelensky said directly to Germany. Let's start there. He said, today, comparing Russia to something you know well, the Berlin Wall. Do you guys remember when I translated, or it was in English if you saw it, but what he said to the American Congress? Remember? He talked about Pearl Harbor. He talked about Mount Rushmore. He talked about 9/11. He knows how to communicate to people. I just applaud him. Today he was nominated for a Nobel Peace Prize, by the way. But now, talking to Germany, he starts talking about the Berlin Wall. He says, with Russia, Germany, you are behind the wall again. No, not the Berlin Wall, but in the heart of Europe where there is freedom. The Russians are trapped from the freedom of Europe. And I'm here to tell you today that this wall is getting stronger. With every shell that falls on our soil in Ukraine, with every decision you make. Thank you very much, Andrea. The German parliament is the Bundestag. Bundestag. Yeah. We're learning, man. This is awesome. Thank you for that. And then he goes on to say, I tell you today that Ukraine in the future will definitely join the European Union. Of course, that's a direct stab at President Putin. It is not enough to learn the lessons of history, but we must put them into practice. Now he's going to pull history lesson number 2. And I quote, Zelensky said to the German Bundestag, you said that the Holocaust can never happen again. But once again, an attempt is being made in Europe to destroy an entire nation. Why? Why? For what reason? Support us. Support every Ukrainian. Please help us. Help us stop this war. Those were some of the key comments that Zelensky said. Now, he made another statement later in the day. He also visited a family that I want to tell you the story and show you that. But he said later in the day to his people in Ukraine, he says, our Mariupol, our Kharkov, our Chernigov, our Kyiv, our Izium, and all our hero cities that are now suffering. We do everything we can, all of us together. Our army. Now pay attention here. This is awesome. He says our army, our police, our SES, our humanitarian convoys, and our churches. All of our people are working together. And I promise we will not leave you. And then he says, we will not forgive those that have done this to our land. You will be free like all of us, and we will be on our own land. So very, we're a part of that. Yes, he was speaking to the Ukrainian people, but we're a part of that humanitarian convoy and the churches that he made in a reference to. Now, today also, President Zelensky visited a family in the hospital. I want to show you video of this. He visited the Vlasenko family. The Vlasenko family is actually from Chernigov area, and when they were trying to escape 12 days ago, the Russian military shot them in their car. Fortunately, they were not killed. In fact, I will show you a picture of this family. Yes, they look like a vicious enemy that needs to be shot at as they're driving in their car to escape bombs that are falling. I'm sure that little girl was just such, somebody, a target that has to be taken out. Well, that's what happened. This entire family was shot. But not only that, even after they were shot, they were then helping to protect others that were under the same attack. Well, this family survived. They are now in the hospital in Kyiv. And hearing of their heroism today, old President Zelensky made a visit. You will not understand, but for sure, it will touch your heart. This is President Zelensky meeting the Vlasenko family.
Привіт. Роман знає. Привіт.
There's the little girl.
Радий бачити.
Катя в шоці.
Ну, сонце, ну ти що? Нам піти чи можемо тут? Нормально? Тримаєтесь?
She's in awe. He gives her flowers.
Нам всім не
Little
просто.
girl.
Ми всі правильно робимо. ТикТоки всі поддерживаем. Так? Тобто ми оккупировали ТикТок?
Все про вас, все про вас.
Доброго дня. Доброго дня. Вітання, спокійно, відпочивайте. Вам це потрібно. Дуже приємно.
Військовий службовець. Хочу подушити. Наказ головнокомандуюча пожати руку стати.
Та не вставайте, я сам.
Осколкове поранення грудної клітки, ножинні переломи ребер, розрив нижньої частки правої легені, надану допомогу, лікуємо.
Відпочивайте, доброго дня.
Це цивільна людина, директор приватного зоопарку, умовно кажучи, і ветеринар. Постраждали всі звірі під Гостомелем, на жаль, але він спасся. Водій того самого журналіста. Вітаю.
Вітаю. Як?
Все добре, сьогодні вже хоч відпускаємо, вже вам випускали вже.
Одужуйте.
Дякую.
Тримайтесь, хлопці.
Дякую.
Щасливо.
What a dude. Gave the little girl flowers, and of course she knew he was President Zelensky, but what she actually said to him was, "Oh, you're a TikTok star, President Zelensky." And of course she was in shock. But what's so beautiful, I know other leaders do stuff like this. They're in the middle of a war and bombs are dropping. And it's probably not the safest place for him to be going, knowing that hospitals are targets and doing these types of things. But he does it anyway. And he's not rushed. He's not pushed by those that are in some entourage. If you noticed, he was leading the way to that room. He was not behind. He walked in first, and he's the one that shook the hands and then had personal conversations with these people. Very, very moved by President Zelensky. Now, the general staff said that today that they are emphasizing that President Zelensky said that Ukraine should be recognized in international borders only as they were in 1991, which would be the full Ukraine and Crimea. Everything we agree on must be better than before the war. Otherwise, why were the victims of the Ukrainian people and who have given their lives and died for this? Ukraine must be better when this is over. General staff repeated, we will never, in our words written today, never give up our national interests. From March the 20th, we know another wave of mobilization is coming in the eastern occupied territories. The Russian army has used their cruise missiles and Iskander missile systems, and now they are striking us with indiscriminate weapons that are unguided. They then said the situation in Mariupol is catastrophic. There is practically not a single building left without damage. Almost 90% of our beautiful city is destroyed. The houses are either in ruins or damaged as a result of the attacks. This city of 400,000 civilians is 90% destroyed. I told you last night about the bomb hitting Mariupol. They're still digging people out of the rubble. But I can report to you that there are some people that they've pulled that have survived. No numbers were released today. I don't have anything. And anything you're seeing is not accurate, but I can tell you that they were able to get some out, but they just can't get to the people yet there. And it's still between 1,000 and 1,200 were guesstimated to have been in that shelter. We'll have more on that. And as we get the accurate details, I'll give them to you. Canada today declared that their airspace, here's 4 tweets that came out from Canada, effective immediately. Until further notice, all aircraft directly or indirectly owned, registered, chartered, leased, operated, or controlled by a citizen of either the Russian Federation or of Belarus are prohibited from entering, exiting, or overflying Canadian airspace. 4 tweets about that today from the Transport Ministry of Canada. You say, well, so what? That's Canada. Well, let me tell you why so what. Take a look at the globe. You see, folks, when you look at a map, is which I enjoy showing you maps each evening so you understand what and where and how things are happening. You have to remember the earth is not flat. I don't care how many conspiracy theorists are out there. I've flown around this world many, many times. I promise you, it's not flat. It is round. So when flights leave Europe, Russia, any of those nations, you see the big, bright green blob. And Canadian airspace is where the red arrow is. These nations from Europe, Russia, they fly using Canadian airspace. Folks, Canadian airspace is ginormous. Canada has now banned any airplane from Russia or Belarus from flying in their airspace. And they did say that we will not hesitate to take immediate enforcement action should non-compliance with the restrictions be confirmed. Folks, this is a big deal with Canada closing their airspace. I want to introduce you tonight to Alexandra Trofimovna. Some of these names are even hard for me. Alexandra Trofimovna. Got to put the accent in the right place. 86 years old, was a little girl living in Kharkov when the Nazis bombed her house, killed her mother and sister during World War II. During that bombing, she lost 2 fingers on her right hand. This morning, her house was bombed again, but this time by the Russian army. She lost her home for the second time, and you can see the pain in this dear lady's face. I told you that Europe is waking up. They do not want to repeat World War II. Today, this is the Honorable Ben Wallace. He is a high up in the British government for foreign relations, foreign ministries, information. Today, an attempt was made by an imposter claiming to be the Ukrainian prime minister to speak with me. He posed several misleading questions, and after becoming suspicious, I terminated the call. No amount of Russian disinformation, distortion, and dirty tricks can distract from Russia's human rights abuses and illegal invasion of Ukraine. He spelled Ukraine wrong, A before I. A desperate attempt. Russia, whoever, tried to call him and pretend they were Ukraine. The people in Europe are waking up to what is happening, and I'm going to show you more and more about this. China came out today and told the world that they are going to support Ukraine and Russia. I asked Zhenya about this, and I will quote, if he was here, he would tell you himself, tomorrow morning, President Biden is going to be talking to President Xi and supposedly telling him not to get involved. But China's Ministry of Commerce came out today and said, we're going to support both nations. Well, you can't support both nations. So earlier when I was talking to Zhenya, I asked him, I said, what does that mean to you when you hear? He goes, Greg, we saw that news today. We saw that news today. And he goes, let me just tell you the truth. China is lying. There's no way they're going to back down from their relationship with Vladimir Putin. And if they say anything, it's just to try and save their face. But we do not trust China any. So there you have it. That's your update on China Direct. White House cites, it was interesting. The White House is citing high concern that China may provide Russia with weapons. Folks, it's happening. I want to give a big shout out to Israel tonight. Isn't Russia only 50 miles from Alaska? Yes, sir. Very close over there. But that part of Russia, no problem. No problem. There's no people there. I mean, you got Vladivostok down toward the south, but it's very remote. And we've got a lot of horsepower up there that nobody knows about, or they don't talk about it much, but we're good. Italy. I want to big a shout out to Italy. The Dario Franceschini. Man, I need easier names. Italy today said that they would rebuild the theater of Mariupol. You can see a picture on the left, and on the right is the destruction. The Cabinet of Ministers has approved my proposal to offer Ukraine the resources and means to rebuild it as soon as possible. Theaters of all countries belong to the whole of humanity. Folks, I guarantee you that was I've never been inside of it, but I guarantee you it was a most beautiful edifice there in Mariupol that has been destroyed. But Italy, they're going to rebuild it. Ukraine is asking Japan for satellite data amid the Russian invasion. Folks, let me just start listing for you a moment. Russia's in a war with Ukraine. Let me just start listing the nations that are involved or being communicated with. All of Europe, whether it's for refugees or asking EU to help or NATO, close guys. So all European nations, United States, Syria, Turkey, Iran, China, India, Japan. I'm even going to share a story tomorrow night about an African nation that is getting involved. There's a lot of nations. So do you think that Russia's going to be happy with Japan giving intelligence to Ukraine? This is brewing, folks, and it needs to stop. Latvia today, and this is their statement. I told you either yesterday or 2 days ago that the Estonian parliament called for NATO close the skies. That was the first nation to officially call for NATO to close the skies. Today, Latvia called officially for NATO to close the skies. And then right after them, Lithuania officially called for NATO to close the skies. Boris Johnson steps up today and says, Ukraine is now paying the price for the West's failure over Putin, taking responsibility. Europe, the United States. What failure? The failure was in 2014 when we allowed Russia to annex Crimea and annex the eastern republics of Donetsk and Lugansk and turn them into breakaway regions. That was the failure of Ukraine, and that, even though there were not bombs dropping, that's when the war started. Yes, there were battles in the east, but not a full-blown war. That's what he's talking about. Boris Johnson is getting bold. Now, here's what I promised you. Europe is reliving this again. I'm going to show you some pictures, and just want you to look at them. Europe is reliving this again. On the left, underground London, 1941 in the subways. On the right, underground Kharkov, 2022. On the left, on the top rather, firefighters in London, 1940. On the bottom, firefighters in Kyiv, 2022. On the left, school children crowding the Broadway station in London, 1940. On the right, you've seen this picture, I've shown it to you, the evacuation of people at the railway station, Kharkov, 2022. On the top, a soldier carries 11-year-old boy who died in Warsaw, 1944. On the bottom, soldier carrying a child evacuating Irpin, 2022, after the bridge was blown up. On the top, destruction of Eastbourne, UK. On the bottom, destruction, Freedom Square, Kharkov, Ukraine, 2022. On the top, 1945, rallying for peace to come. On the bottom, 100,000 people gathered in Berlin to support Ukraine, Berlin, 2022. On the top, that famous picture of that soldier throwing the grenade or whatever he was throwing there in battle. On the bottom picture, Molotov cocktail being thrown by a Russian citizen trying to defend their territory. On the top, women from the Soviet and Ukrainian armies that were fighting against Nazi Germany. On the bottom, women soldiers fighting against the Russian army. More than 31,000 women are serving in the Ukrainian armed forces. On the top, 1941, a child clinging to the leg of his father. 1944, 2022, Lvov train station, a baby clinging to her father's leg. On the top, Elephant and Castle Underground Station, as children are sheltering during air raid, London, 1941. On the bottom, bomb shelter in Kyiv, with children doing the same, Kyiv, 2022. Folks, unbelievable comparisons. That was sent to me today, early this morning. Those are not staged photos. Those are famous historical photos. And some genius out there in Ukraine found these other photos and started putting them together. And we see the parallels between World War II and what we're experiencing now. Syria today, you can see in their advertisement there, President Putin and Assad. And I can tell you that today, Assad said that he is sending 40,000 troops to Russia and Belarus to fight the war. According to the military intelligence of Ukraine, in the near future, Syria is going to transfer weapons, military equipment, and other resources from Syria to Russia and Belarus to provide for the Russian military, including 40,000 soldiers. Couple of more things here. Italy. Prime Minister came out today and said, Putin does not want peace. So, folks, the reason I gave the title tonight, Europe Remembers, they're starting to remember. You see, all these people, whether it's a Boris Johnson, whether it's a Mario Draghi, the Prime Minister of Italy, no, they do not remember World War II. But their grandparents told them stories, maybe their parents, and they're day by day remembering. And I just can't see people with dignity and any humanity at all continuing to allow this, knowing it could come to your nation. Why do I say it could come to your nation? Today, Vladimir Putin also threatened, and I will give you the quote. So here is Ukraine in the middle. Take my little pin here. I think it's working. Yeah. So this is Ukraine. Oh, I love the maps. Okay, there's Ukraine. And today, right here, there's Ukraine. And get my little pin out. And boom. Bosnia and Herzegovina. Today, Vladimir Putin came out and directly told Bosnia and Herzegovina, if you even think about going to NATO, the same thing we're doing in Ukraine, we will do to you. And folks, I'm not a tactician, but I can tell you that if he thinks he's going to do that to Bosnia and Herzegovina, well, Poland, Slovakia, Hungary, Romania, Serbia, Slovenia, Austria, Czech are all in the way. Italy's the adjacent neighbor to the left. Do you see how all of this is lining up? Pretty simple. Italian Prime Minister said, Vladimir Putin does not want peace. Finally, I want to show you this. President Macron, and I'm going to play this, and then I'm going to translate what he said for you. Right here. Where's my Macron? Macron. Where are you at? Here he is. President of France. Today.
Notre force, et nous sommes la seule vraie armée complète en Europe continentale, et réussir à gagner en adaptabilité. Et en parallèle, il nous faut intensifier nos investissements pour pouvoir affronter une guerre de haute intensité qui peut revenir sur notre continent.
Macron today made a national speech after Zelensky called him. There's the tweet from Zelensky saying, we discussed the support for Ukrainians in the fight against Russian aggression, especially in the defense sphere. Emphasis was put on the continued peaceful dialogue. We must strengthen the anti-war coalition. Then Macron went on and made a speech, and he urged the French citizens to prepare for a big war in Europe. The president of France said, our forces are the only full-fledged army on the European continent. That's on the European continent. Remember, Great Britain's across the channel. We need to increase investment to be prepared for a possible high-intensity armed conflict that could break out on our continent. So, my friends, I ask you tonight, has Europe started to wake up? Boris Johnson, Germany today, Italy, Estonia, Latvia, Lithuania, and now this big deal with France. Folks, these places are very close. It's just a few miles. It's minutes with airplanes. I mean, these fighter jets, it's minutes from some of these borders to borders. And it's getting pretty interesting. Very, very close. Give you one final update here for tonight. Tomorrow, I'm preparing a video on Volnovakha. That's the city in Donetsk that was completely destroyed. It's between Mariupol and Donetsk, and I'm working on a video with that. Russia occupies that now, just so you can understand the depth of what has happened. But last thing here, 3.2 million is the number of refugees that have left Ukraine. 3.2 million. They have nothing to go back to, folks. Their homes are destroyed. That's why we're doing what we're doing. As a part of that, we are praying, remember? We are sharing, liking, commenting, and giving. That's our 5 things we're doing. Tomorrow night, if you are local here in Western Pennsylvania, there will be a prayer vigil. I'm going to be there. Pastor Kent's going to be there. It's from 6 to 8. I'm going to be there about 6 to 7:30 and then get back home and get prepared for the 9 o'clock broadcast. But churches, ministers, people from all around our county are coming together with Kingdom Unification Ministries to pray specifically for Ukraine. We will be speaking, sharing a little video, educating those guys, or maybe if they have questions. And I'm sure many of those churches and people, once they hear, they're not only going to jump on board with keeping up with what we're doing, but also become a part of it in prayer and in finances. So finally, folks, for all of us, continue to pray for Ukraine. We thank you. I see all of you guys putting in your stories in here of your ancestors that were World War II veterans, much like my grandfather as well. So thank you. If you're able to make it tomorrow night to the prayer, great. If not, and you're from a different place in the country, we'll be praying 6 to 8 Eastern, and then 9 o'clock. We'll see you. 23 hours. 23 hours from last night, it was like 5 pages of things unfolded. And I'm sure 23 hours from now, it's going to be a completely different face again. But we pray and we believe for the best. God will be glorified, and that peace would come to Ukraine, and that through this, the kingdom of God would be exalted and grow. May the Lord bless you guys tonight, keep you, cause his face to shine upon you, be gracious to you, and give you peace. And we speak peace over Ukraine tonight. We'll see you in 23 hours. Good night. See you tomorrow.